Good afternoon to you. Today we will continue with the Constitution. In the last class, we have seen the deficiencies in the procedure to amend the Constitution given in Article 368. Today, we will see one of the most important topics, SC/ST reservation policy, first challenge in Chenbagam Durarajan case in Supreme Court. Along with the extent of amendability of the Constitution, also we will see. The topic is important from the mains point of view. At the same time, you can expect one or two questions, minimum two, maximum three questions in preliminary also. The amendability of the Constitution by the Parliament has been examined by the Supreme Court in various cases. All these cases we are going to see. There was a time when judiciary was considered and projected as the weakest branch of the state because it had neither any power of purse nor any power of sword, because the purse is with the executive and sword is also with the executive, especially in the parliamentary form of government where both the executive and legislature is amalgamated. The judiciary will be the weakest victim. But this imaginary myth was demolished by the most important case of Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala of 1973, in which Supreme Court established its might finally. The entire constitutional history, if you analyze, it is nothing but the clash between paramount democratic institutions. The parties in the struggle has been executive and legislature on the one side, especially because of parliamentary form of government. There is no difference between the legislature and the executive. You can see even now, because if a strong executive means subservient parliament, parliament individuality is only in paper. So long the anti-defection law is in force, the executive, if you have 2/3 majority or 3/4 majority of the executive, the party which forming the executive, then parliament cannot do it. It is a leviathan, it is a tiger in the chain. Nothing can be done in that. So, the parties in this struggle has been executive and legislature on the one side because of parliamentary form of government, and of judiciary on the other side. Kesavananda Bharati case of 1973 is the most important case in many respects. First of all, the judgment was delivered by the largest bench of the Constitution bench of Supreme Court, consisting of 13 judges. This is the largest bench so far, most important. Golaknath 11, Kesavananda Bharati 13 benches. Secondly, the judgment in Kesavananda Bharati case shifted the balance of democratic power once for all. Once for all, it has decided who is powerful. Thirdly, Supreme Court has sat for the longest amount of time, almost 5 months, to determine various interrelated issues which are pivotal to interaction between parliament and the executive on the one side and the supreme judiciary on the other side. Fourthly, the judgment contained nearly 800 pages 800 pages, to be precise, 4.2 lakh words. It is the longest appellate decision delivered by the Supreme Court so far. Sixthly, the basic structure doctrine formulated by Supreme Court on 24th April 1973 is still a household name not only with the judiciary but also with the executive and legislature even after 47 years. The basic structure theory propounded by the Supreme Court in this case set a benchmark for all constitutional courts not only in Asia but also in the entire world. Finally, the most important factor is that the judgment was delivered with a very thin majority, that is 7:6. So, this is the importance of Kesavananda Bharati case. Every year, invariably, either the Kesavananda Bharati case comes or Golaknath case comes. These two cases are very important. However, before attempting a detailed analysis of Kesavananda Bharati case, also called fundamental rights case, it is desirable to look at the cases which have led to Kesavananda Bharati case, because the analysis would be incomplete without discussing the earlier cases. Now, what are the earlier cases? That is the question. We will examine 8 cases totally. You need not get upset. We will not go into the every detail of all the 8 cases. We will see only the brief facts and what is the decision of the Supreme Court, how it is relevant. First case is Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras of 1950. Second case is Shenbagam Durarajan versus State of Madras 1951, where the reservation policy for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe was first challenged. Thirdly, Shankari Prasad versus Union of India 1951, the first case where the fundamental right vis-a-vis directive principle was challenged. Then Sajjan Singh versus State of Rajasthan 1964. This is the combination of two cases. One is against Article 311 and the other is 17th Constitutional Amendment Act. Then comes very popular case Golaknath versus State of Punjab 1967. Then comes most famous case Kesavananda Bharati versus State of Kerala 1973. Then comes Minerva Mill case 1980. Finally, 8th case Vamana Rao case 1981. These are all the 8 cases which we will see. Only brief facts, only relevant to the exam and relevant to the constitution. First case, let us see Ramesh Thapar versus State of Madras of 1950. Ramesh Thapar was a left-wing Indian journalist. He was also the editor, publisher and printer of an English journal called Crossroad. It was published from Bombay. The entry of the journal into Madras state was banned by Madras government under Maintenance of Public Order Act 1949. Ramesh Thapar challenged the orders of Madras government in the Supreme Court. Supreme Court held the ban order invalid because the freedom of speech and expression guaranteed in Article 19 include freedom of press. Freedom of press includes not only publication but also the circulation of the journal. And in addition, the restriction on fundamental rights can be imposed only on the ground given in the proviso to Article 19. The grounds for such restriction did not include public safety and public order, based on which the circulation was banned. Therefore, the Supreme Court said that you cannot restrict the entry of the journal only on the ground given in you can restrict the entry of the journal into Madras only on the ground given in Article 19. Since public safety and public order have not been given in Article 19, you cannot restrict the entry of the journal into Madras state on the ground of or in the interest of public safety or public order. So, the ban order was held invalid. Most importantly, remember, this is the first case in which Supreme Court struck down an order issued by the state and upheld the superiority of the fundamental rights. So, a need was felt by the government for amending Article 19 relating to freedom of speech and expression. So, you might have understood the reason for my taking up Ramesh Thapar class first, because this is the first case in which, after independence, 1951, in which the ban order was held invalid to uphold the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. So, this is the first case. Second case comes Shenbagam Durarajan versus State of Madras, 1951. Remember, the most important fact of reservation policy in favor of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe was challenged in this case. This case was concerned with an order of Madras government issued in 1951 providing caste-based reservation in colleges and in government jobs. This is the case in which, for the first time, the reservation policy in favor of scheduled caste and scheduled tribe was challenged in the Supreme Court. As you know, I have already taken this issue. As you know, Article 16 guarantees equality of opportunity in every public appointment and public employment under the state. Similarly, Article 15 prohibits discrimination on the ground of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. On the basis of these two fundamental rights, the orders of Government of Madras, which provided caste-based reservation in government jobs and in colleges, were challenged in the Supreme Court by the petitioner Miss Shenbagam, a forward caste student who was denied admission in medical college. High Court of Madras struck down the orders of Government of Madras on the ground that these orders violate the fundamental rights. Against these orders of High Court, Madras government went on appeal to the Supreme Court. The Government of Madras defended the reservation on the basis of the caste on the ground of directive principles of state policy given in Article 46. Directive principles of state policy given in Article 46, which permits the state to promote the educational and economic interest of socially and educationally backward classes of citizens, in particular the scheduled caste, scheduled tribe, for the purpose of securing social justice to these marginalized sections of society. So you know Article 16. Article 16 is for the advancement of socially and educationally backward classes, including scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. For SCBC, socially and educationally backward classes, including scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, special provision can be made. You remember, this was the prior to that. This is not there. Now, previously this provision was not there. So Supreme Court, the High Court did not agree. Now they went to the Supreme Court. Now the fight is between the fundamental rights given in Article 15 and 16 and the directive principles of state policy given in 46, Article 46. Supreme Court in this case held categorically that the fundamental rights are superior to directive principles of state policy and declared that the directive principles should conform and run subsidiary to the fundamental rights. This is because the fundamental rights, having been included in Part 3 of the Constitution, enjoy the protection of Article 13, whereas the directive principles do not enjoy such a protection. Thus, Supreme Court categorically said, if there is a clash between a fundamental right and the directive principle, the former, that is the fundamental right, will prevail over the latter, because the fundamental rights are justiciable, whereas the directive principles are not enforceable through court of law. This judgment of Supreme Court had overwhelmingly upset the members of Parliament who were strongly supporting the cause of socially and educationally backward classes, in particular the scheduled caste and scheduled tribe. So, we will end the class now. We have seen two cases. One is Ramesh Thapar, second is Shanmugam Durarajan. Ramesh Thapar, what is known as Article 19, freedom of speech and expression. Here, Article 15 and 16. So, now these two cases have compelled the government of the day to go in for amendment of the Constitution. How the one more cases we will see in the next class. Thank you.